The sun dipped low over the horizon, casting a golden glow on the bamboo grove of Venuvana. The disciples gathered silently, their robes rustling softly as they settled beneath the outstretched branches of the trees. Among them stood King Pasenadi, his face tense, his eyes clouded with the burden of unresolved challenges. Buddha turned his gaze upon the assembly, his expression serene, embodying timeless wisdom and unshakable compassion. "Today, I shall tell you a story," Buddha said, his voice calm and resonant, breaking the evening stillness. In a distant town called Rajagaya, there lived an archer named Jaya, renowned for his unmatched skill and precision. His fame spread far and wide, for his arrows flew with unerring accuracy. Guided by his steady hand, one day, Jaya heard whispers of a master who taught archers to transcend ordinary skill and achieve perfection. Intrigued by this claim, Jaya decided to seek the master, journeying through forests and across mountains to find him. After a long search, he found the master meditating in a secluded clearing surrounded by towering, ancient trees. Buddha nodded and continued, "Stillness does not mean escaping the wind. It means moving harmoniously with it." The disciple's brow furrowed, seeking clarity in Buddha's words. "But, Master," he asked, "how can one find stillness amid the chaos of life's noise?" Buddha reached out, plucking a fallen leaf from the ground before him. He held it up for the disciple to see. The master handed Jaya a blindfold and said, "Begin by shooting at the target without using your sight." Jaya hesitated, his confidence wavering, then tied the blindfold over his eyes, gripping his bow with trembling hands. "Are you saying, Master, that we must accept noise without resistance?" Buddha set the leaf down gently, his touch light as the morning breeze. "Acceptance is but one step," Buddha said. "True stillness arises from understanding and observing without attachment or judgment." The disciple considered Buddha's words, nodding slowly as realization began to dawn. "Master," he said, "it is easier to observe the leaves than to quiet the storms within my mind." Buddha's gaze softened, his voice imbued with calm wisdom. "The storm is the teacher, not the enemy," he said. "The lessons come from the noise." Though blindfolded, his arrows found their mark, guided by trust and intuition, rather than by his eyes. Jaya marveled at his newfound skill, realizing the wisdom in the master's seemingly unorthodox and challenging methods. Buddha nodded, the faintest smile gracing his lips. Within serenity lies stillness, cultivated through patience and awareness. A leader, like Jaya, must guide not only with strength and reason but also with trust and intuition. Certainty can blind a ruler to the hidden truths and perspectives offered by those who surround them. If you loosen your grip on rigid control, you will find clarity amidst the chaos of leadership challenges. The disciples listened intently, their faces reflecting the profound wisdom imparted by the Buddha's serene words. "I hear the wind," the disciple murmured, "and the chirping of birds among the trees." Buddha's voice flowed like the river, steady and soothing. "And do these sounds disturb your mind as the noise of the city does?" The disciple opened his eyes, shaken by the contrast he felt within himself. "No, Master," the disciple answered. "The sounds here bring peace rather than discord." Another day, another gathering. As the sun burned brightly in the blue sky above the dense sal trees of Magadha, the disciples settled themselves under the shade, their robes shimmering like ripples on a gentle stream under the daylight. Among them approached Sangha, a young merchant whose face revealed anxiety, his steps heavy as if carrying unseen weights. Buddha turned his calm eyes upon Sangha and gestured for him to speak, his presence tranquil yet deeply perceptive. "Master, my workers grow restless and my business feels as though it slips away like grains of sand," Sangha began. "I fear their loyalty fades." and with it the foundations of all I have built," he added, his voice trembling. Buddha motioned Sangha closer and directed his attention to a nearby lotus pond. Its waters still and reflective. Taking a small pebble, Buddha dropped it into the pond, its descent marked by ripples expanding across the surface. "What do you see, Sangha?" Buddha asked, his voice measured and calm, urging quiet reflection from the troubled merchant. "I see ripples moving outward, Master." "Beginning from where the pebble touched the water," Sangha replied thoughtfully. Buddha nodded, a gentle smile forming as he began to weave the thread of wisdom into his words. "Leadership begins as the pebble does, Sangha, at the center, within oneself, before its influence touches others," Buddha explained. "If your heart is restless, your actions will echo that unrest, disturbing the waters around you," Buddha continued. "But if your heart is calm and mindful, the ripples you create will bring harmony to your workers," he said. "Master," he asked, "is the Bodhi tree still amidst its own rustling leaves?" Buddha rested his gaze upon the towering tree, a symbol of enlightenment and peace. "The tree is one with the rustling, knowing no separation, no conflict," Buddha said. In a distant village, Buddha began. A farmer, overwhelmed by drought, angrily demanded loyalty from his oxen during the dry season. The oxen, though frightened, grew weary under his stern commands, their strength diminishing with each passing day. Buddha continued. The farmer realized his mistake when his fields lay barren, his oxen too weak to work. His harvest lost, the farmer then approached his oxen differently, offering rest and nourishment, his tone gentle, his intent considerate. The disciple's mind quieted as the forest seemed to embrace him with its gentle song. "Master," the disciple said, "you have shown me where to look, though I must find the way myself." The disciples murmured their approval, recognizing the universal application of Buddha's wisdom in relationships and work alike. Sangha's face softened, the burden of his anxiety lifting as understanding seeped into his heart like sunlight through clouds. "I will focus on cultivating harmony within myself first, Master, and inspire my workers with peace and care," Sangha promised. Buddha offered his signature smile, serene and eternal, as his wisdom took root in yet another seeking soul. As the sun shifted in the sky, the teachings carried forward, rippling through the assembly like the waters of the pond. Another day, another gathering, as gentle rains left the earth damp and fragrant under the canopy of retreating monsoon clouds. The disciples assembled in the forest clearing, their faces serene, eager to absorb the wisdom of the enlightened one. Among them stood Jiri, a village leader, his brow furrowed with the weight of disputes among his people. Buddha turned his knowing eyes upon Jiri, gesturing for him to come closer and share his troubles with the assembly. "Master, my people quarrel endlessly, and division festers in my village," Jiri began, his voice heavy with frustration. "No matter my efforts, harmony eludes us, and unity feels like a distant, unattainable dream," he continued. Buddha regarded him with a gaze of unshaken compassion, then rose, inviting Jiri to walk with him into the forest. The other disciples followed quietly, their curiosity piqued. As Buddha moved purposefully along a narrow path through the undergrowth, the path became rough, overgrown with thorny branches, forcing them to tread carefully and maneuver around the obstructing thorns. Buddha paused, turned to Jiri, and said, "This path, Jiri, is like the hearts of your people, thorny and difficult to navigate. If you force your way through, the thorns will catch and tear you, wounding you and leaving you weakened," he explained. "But if you walk mindfully, observing where the path opens, you can pass unharmed." With patience and understanding, Buddha added. Jiri nodded, his eyes widening slightly. as he considered the metaphor and its relevance to his own leadership struggles. Buddha gestured for the group to sit in a clearing where sunlight dappled the forest floor through the canopy above. He began to speak, his voice even, carrying the timeless wisdom that resonated with his gathered disciples. In a village long ago, Buddha said, there was a weaver who struggled with tangled threads in her loom. No matter how tightly she pulled, the knots only grew worse, frustrating her and threatening to ruin the fabric. He continued. One day, she paused her efforts, sat quietly, and observed the threads without pulling, simply noticing how they intertwined. With patience, she began to untangle the threads, one at a time, her calm approach revealing hidden pathways in the knots. The fabric that emerged was strong and beautiful, a reflection of her patience and careful, mindful effort. Buddha concluded. So it is with unity. Jiri. It cannot be imposed by force but must be fostered with patience and care, Buddha said. If you seek to clear their hearts as you would untangle the threads, tend to their hopes and fears, he advised. Listen to their struggles and needs, and help them see the path of understanding and cooperation, Buddha continued. Attachment is like holding water tightly, Buddha said. The harder you grasp, the more it slips away. The disciple watched as the water returned to the river, merging seamlessly with its flow. Letting go, the Buddha continued, is the act of allowing life to flow without attempting to control its course. The disciple's heart felt lighter, his burden eased by the clarity of the Buddha's analogy. If you hold anger or resentment, those emotions will ripple outward, influencing the actions and feelings of those you lead, he continued. But if you cultivate patience, compassion, and understanding within yourself, those virtues will ripple outward and inspire your people, he added. The river's journey is long, the Buddha said, but it flows effortlessly, carrying no burden except its own essence. The disciple's eyes softened, filled with a new sense of hope and determination. Master, he asked, how can I apply this wisdom to the constant challenges and distractions of my daily existence? The Buddha rose, his movements graceful as the wind, and gestured for the disciple to follow. They walked along the riverbank, the water's gentle sound accompanying their steps like a serene melody. Every distraction, the Buddha said, is like a ripple, an opportunity to return to the stillness beneath the surface. The disciple listened intently, his mind attuned to the rhythm of the Buddha's words and the river's flow. Thank you for watching. Buddha's teachings are always with you. Subscribe to our channel and we will see you in the next video.